Welcome to my channel. Today's episode, we are reviewing Olympus OM1. This camera first introduced in 1972. The original name of Olympus OM1 is M1, but because it is similar to Leica, M1 is immediately replaced to OM1. M stands for Leica. In German is Measurer or rangefinder, and in Olympus, M means Maitani. Yoshihisa Maitani is legendary Japanese camera designer. He was involved with the design of many of the company's well-known camera, including the Olympus Pen, Pen F, OM system, XA, and the later the iconic stylus systems that you can buy in eBay today. Olympus M1 is the rare camera. I think they produce only 5,000 units. You can still buy them in eBay for like 150 to 300 Canadian dollars, depends on the condition. The Olympus OM1 is mechanical camera. It does feature built-in light meter right here. This is the switch only for the light meter, so you can still use it without the camera, or if you have a light meter app, you can still use that. It has very nice viewfinder. It has center weighted meter, so if you look on the viewfinder right here, you can see the plus and minus sign. This SLR famous for its small size and lightweight. This OM1 has MD badge, meaning has a support of motor drive. At the bottom, additional small circular door similar to the battery compartment right here. This for the motor drive. On the top part, you can find the crank or rewind lever, light meter switch right here, exposure counter or exposure window, film advance lever right here, and this is the shutter release button. This is ISO dial. If you wanna move the ISO dial, you press the small latch here, small button, and then you can set the ISO. There's no compensation or shutter speed dial right here on the top. There's a hot shoe. At the front, it has a rewind lever. Some camera, the rewind button is right here. You press it and then you rewind it. Here, this is the rewind button. Okay. And this is mirror lock-up lever right there. And this is the self-time. On the lens, this is depth of field preview button right here. Lens release button. This is similar to depth of field. Focusing dial, and on the body, this is the shutter speed right here. Shutter speed, and also the aperture rate. If you open the back cover, just lift this rewind lever. Okay, this is viewfinder, film chamber, film guide rail, sprocket, take-up spool, and the shutter curtain, back cover, and also this kind of camera, it has removable back cover, so you just like a watch. Yeah, right there. Some of the newer watches, you can remove the bracelet like this. Okay, let's load the film. I have dummy film here, the KODAK Gold 100. So you put it here. Assist with your left thumb. Insert the film on the take-out spool and then wind it. Okay, right there. So make sure that the sprocket is engaged, and then close it. Tighten the film. Okay, it's tight. Then crank it and fire the shutter until you get to a frame 1. If you notice, this is also turning if you wind the film, meaning you correctly install the film. There you go. You get to a frame 1. And then battery loading. So you open the compartment. You can use coin to open the battery compartment. You can use 1.35 mercury battery, but nowadays there's no more mercury battery, so I'm using a Barta PX625, or you can use any 1.35 volt. So now I'm using a Barta. You can put here and cover. Just follow the polarity. So you can use a Varta PX625 or equivalent. The specs are, this is a 35mm SLR, minimum focusing distance of 45 cm. Shutter speed is from 1 second, right here, 1 second all the way to 1/100 a second. Also plus bulb. Self timer right here. This is 12 seconds all the way. Right here is like 8 seconds, and this is 4 seconds. And to activate it, just crank it first, and then yeah. Film speed is 25 to 1600 ISO. Class sinks is 1/60 with electronic flash, 1/15 for class M bulb, and 1/60 to 1000 for a class F bulb. But right now nobody using those things. We only use electronic flash. It also has a removable viewfinder and removable camera back. How to use a light meter. So you open the lens, and before that, before you use the camera, I forgot to say, you have to set the sensitivity or the speed of the film. So we put 100 ISO. So you press this and set it to 100 ISO. Right there. There's an index on the shutter. There's a small index right there, meaning the 100. You can see 100 ISO. So if you use the light meter, turn it on like so, and if you look at the viewfinder, if it is center, you're in focus. If you have like a minus sign or plus sign, you're under or overexposed. Focusing is same with all or any camera. You have to turn the focusing ring like this. It has a micro prism. Make sure that the subject on that micro prism is aligned. If the subject is aligned, you're in focus. So locking the mirror, if I open this, if you remove the lens, press this and then turn it there. If you see the mirror right there, if you want to lock the mirror, just turn it there. This is usually used in macro photography, so there's no excessive vibration when you press the shutter button. No mirror like flipping like this, so just the shutter. If you lower it down, you'll see the difference. To put the lens, there's a red indicator right here. Just put the camera on the same red dot and turn it there. Flash photography. So there's a lot of things how to use the flash. Sometimes using flash during daylight to compensate the light. For example, your subject is standing on the well-lit windows, or the subject is against the light, so you can compensate by using a flash. So how to use manual flash on this camera. So in the flash you have to set also the ISO. If you use ISO 100 on the camera, you put also ISO 100 on the flash. So I set to 100 ISO there. Some user of flash, they will set the aperture constant, or they're not changing the aperture. For example, they're in the venue, they're gonna use this for a group shot, so their aperture is from 5.6 to f8. For example, f8 is right here, aperture of f8. So you should have like 3 meters or 10 feet distance to your subject. So some people is just like that, so they set to f8 and set the distance to 10 meters. So they will set the 10 meters right here, so 10 meters, and then there. So you have to be precise, or you have to know your distance from your subject before using the flash. So if you set to f8 and then distance is 10 meters, so if you see the subjects between the range of 10 meters, you can use it like so. But sometimes the other way how to use the flash is in a studio, or the subject is not moving. First thing is you focus the subject. For example, you focus the subject with the focusing ring, and you see it like distance is 4 meters or 12 feet. So we will check the flash. So 12 feet and 4 meters is f5.6. So set your aperture to 5.6. There you go. Put your flash on. Crank it. Put on the tripod, and you're ready to go. So yeah, this is how to use the flash. Make sure you have the 1/60th a second. Again, you have to focus the subject. Once you focus it, look for the number on the back of the flash right here, and set the suggested aperture you're going to use. Double exposure. How to do a double exposure or multiple exposure? After you shot a normal exposure right here, like so, shut it, and then tighten the film. It's tight enough, so hold this and turn the rewind button like so, and then crank the lever. Okay, that's a double exposure. If you want more, don't leave your finger on the rewind button and the rewind lever. There, that's the multiple exposure. After the double exposure, cover the lens. And then make a normal shot to avoid overlapping. Okay, and you're ready to a normal shot again. Film rewind. So again, you turn this rewind button right here, and then turn this clockwise. Until it's no more tension, or when it turns freely, your rewind is done. But I'm not going to rewind all the way because I'm using my dummy film. Here you go. I hear some clicks. Open. Here you go. It's done. Depth of field. Depth of field is the acceptable sharpness in front and behind of the subject. In focus is determined by f-stop you choose. For example, your f-stop is f4 or your aperture is f4. Set your aperture f4. And then if you turn this and in focus, you turn the focusing dial and the subject is in focus. Example, in the middle of the guide number is 2 right there. This is the f-stop 4, so between 6 to 8 feet you're in focus. If you turn the aperture to f8, so between 6 feet to about 11 feet you're in focus. And if you turn to f16, your aperture is f16, so you'll be in focus or between about 5 feet to 12 feet. For more info on the depth of field, you can go to YouTube or online, but that's the use of this depth of field guide number. So if you like my video, don't forget to hit the subscribe and bell icon, and there is also a sample picture taken from this camera. Hope you like it. And before I forget, there is a two-way how to advance the film. Sometimes you advance it all the way like this, 160 or 180 degrees, or maybe 150 degrees. Sometimes you do it multiple times, like 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, double click there, or you can do it 3 times. Alright, don't forget to power off to save your battery. And by the way, I use this taking photos without the battery, so I use Sunny 16. If you're not familiar with the Sunny 16, you can Google it, and it's easy to memorize, and that is also a nice reference. Or if you're using this and the light meter is not working, you can download a light meter on your phone. There's an app, light meter, so you can use that. But me, I use Sunny 16. I don't use a app. So when it's cloudy, like 5.6, something like that. Okay, and here's the sample photos. I use expired KODAK Gold 400. And thank you for watching, and I hope you like it. See you on the next one.